moment that won't in some way tip off who our first guest is. So if you'll be kind enough to consider yourself greeted, I'll send you flowers after the show, and we'll forge on and meet our very special guest, the young man who plays the role of John Boy on the television series The Waltons. Say hello to Mr. Richard Thomas. Richard, congratulations to everything that's happened to you.
Thank you very much.
One thing I'd like to establish, we all hear about the people in our business having an overnight success. I hear you've got this marvelous part in this great series. How many years have you been an actor?
About 16.
16 years. And also about the business of typecasting. And, you'd say, well, they picked a nice, clean-cut young fellow to play this. I saw you on with Patty Duke the other day.
My freak show.
How would you describe that character you played?
Well, just your basic homicidal maniac.
He has more than one string to his bow. Also, we would assume that you were chosen perhaps because you had a background in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Well, no, I was born and raised here in New York City. However, my father was born and raised in Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, and that's not a far cry from Scarlet, Virginia.
Well, it's a great series, and we're going to expect you back in a minute to help us pick out the real guy about who we're going to talk in a second. Richard,
thank you very much.
Richard Thomas. So now let us meet the man who dreamed up the idea of the Waltons.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Earl Hamner.
Number 2.
My name is Earl Hamner.
Number 3.
My name is Earl Hamner.
And here's Earl Hamner's story of how the Waltons actually came into being. It says, I, Earl Hamner, am the creator of the television series The Waltons. It all started when 12 years ago, I wrote a story about a family who lived through the Depression in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Now the story of the Walton family is a weekly television event. Fortunately, the producers of the program decided not to cast famous Hollywood superstars, but rather to emphasize the truth and the reality of a close-knit family and their friends, and then let the show find its own audience. To everyone's great surprise, that's just what happened, and the Waltons became one of the TV hits of the year. Everyone has praised the show's genuineness and its fidelity to old-time values. Maybe that is because the Waltons are really my own family, as I remember them during the years when I was growing up. The character of John Boy is really me. Signed, Earl Hamner. And while the panel gets ready for the questioning ahead, we'll detour for a few commercials and be right back to play games.
To thousands injured by defective drugs. You pay nothing.
Proud to have with us today 3 gentlemen, all claiming to be Earl Hamner, the man who wrote about himself and his family in the television series The Waltons. Let's start the question, please, with Peggy Katz.
Thank you. Number 3, have you written TV shows before The Waltons?
Yes, I have.
Okay, number 3, what was the show The Waltons was based on?
The Homecoming.
Thank you. And who played the mother in The Homecoming?
Patricia Neal.
Thank you. Now, number 1, was your father as nice as that fella is on The Waltons?
Oh, he was a very nice fella.
Well, was he saltier than the man on The Waltons?
I think he was just a little bit saltier because he trained me well and made me work hard.
Okay. Now, number 2, have you written novels?
Well, not to speak of.
Okay. Well, number 2, was your father actually a farmer or a miner? Which was he?
No, he was actually a machinist, but we didn't decide that was a good idea to use. It wasn't as good as working with the land.
Oh, certainly not. More dough in it, though.
Thank you, Peg, and we're going to go to Bill.
Number 3, Peggy asked about your father. The entire family, have you, as you presented them, have you improved them a little bit, made them a little more, I use the word acceptable, I don't mean it just that way, but well, yes, I do mean it that way. Have you?
No, my family is very acceptable without being improved upon.
That's more than I can say for my family, number 3. Number 1, when when you did a thing like this, do you find it more difficult to follow real life, follow something that really happened, as opposed to writing pure fiction?
No, because this is really the story of my growing up, and it's very true to life. My mother still makes me remember the things that were in my childhood, and I put them down on paper, and that's why the show seems so real, because it is real.
Is it possible, number two, that television is becoming more a mirror of reality? We have your show, which is based on the Louds and things like that.
I certainly think so. I think that this show proves that we have to get back to the basics.
Thank you, Bill, and we're going to Kitty.
I just love this show, and I love what it says. Number three, I've missed some of the last episodes. Has John Boy, has he gone out to be a writer yet?
No, he's still in high school, but he will be going to college.
Oh, I see. Oh, thank you for telling me. Number one, how did you get to college?
Well, I worked hard, and I got a scholarship, and that's how I got.
Where did you go?
I went to Northwestern University.
Oh, and number two, then right after that you became a proper writer?
No, not right after college. We'd started before, and as far as getting anything published, it was quite a bit after.
I see. Number three, have you written novels too?
Yes.
And number two, where does this all take place actually? Where is it really filmed?
Well, it's Schuyler down in Virginia. That's the name of the town originally.
Oh, you filmed it right there?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it isn't filmed there.
All right, and let's go on, please, to Nipsey Russell. Well, to continue that thought, number two, from what city in the Blue Ridge Mountains did you come?
It's Schuyler, Virginia.
And that's essentially the story of your own life.
That's right. I misunderstood the question about where.
Number three, unless you're Ponce de Leon, I don't see how you could have lived during the Depression. But what made you feel that the nostalgia kick would include a love for those hard time stories?
Well, I simply felt that they interested me, and my family interested me, and that's what I've always written about, whether it's been books or a television series.
And still, number three, from your life, what seems most romanticized to you was that period of your life, the Depression time?
I suppose because of the casting of Richard Thomas as me, I find that very romantic.
I see. Number one.
All right, unfortunately, we have run out of time. The bell is rung, and we must mark our ballots. We'll do it along with them in our head. Is it number one, do you think? Or do you prefer number two? Or do you feel quite sure that it's number three? There has never been our team $50 for each wrong vote. We pay them $500 if nobody comes up with the right gentleman. And Peggy, you must commence, my dear.
Yes. Well, gee, number three, your accent is so perfect. But you're too young. I mean, you really you must have been, just saving silver paper in World War II. So number two, I don't think it's you somehow. But number one, you've lost that Virginia accent. But I think it's you. You live in Hollywood. Everybody loses everything in Hollywood. I didn't mean that.
That's quite all right.
You
can lose things here like poverty, amongst other things. We have one showing, and we're going to Bill Cullen.
After what Peggy just said, I'm afraid to vote. I thought number three's accent actually was Canadian. It sounded that to me. And number two looks so much like a creator and author that I'm left with number one.
Number two looked too right, huh? Yeah. All right, we got a pair of ones going. Kitty.
Well, I agree with the others. Number three is far too young to have grown up during the Depression. But I couldn't resist About, which I think is rather from Virginia, and that tweedy jacket is what writers wear.
So, you've got a three in spite of his youthful appearance, and Nipsey, are you going along with whom?
Well, I voted the way I did because of the question I asked. Number one, I lived during that period, Yeah,
you don't look old enough either.
Oh, sure, and I know what that poverty side of it was. We were so poor that when we would throw the dog a bone, he would signal for a fair catch.
Almost unanimously, it is number one who seems to have lost his accent in one for number three. Now, it's kind of suitable that the actor who plays John Boy on television should come out and pick out the real Earl Hamner, who was John Boy in his own life. And let's get Richard Thomas out here. And Richard, if you can come out here and find your creator, or John Boy's creator, creator. Surely you'd recognize him somewhere.
I don't.
Kenny, having been married to a writer, can pick out a writer every time. Let's go down the line. Number 1, Magnificent. What is your real name? What do you do?
Well, I worked hard to try to fool you, but my real name is John Bosworth, and I worked to develop the outer packaging on Revlon's newest and finest fragrance, Charlie.
Number 2, you're just too perfect. You look like a writer. What is your real name? What do you do?
So my name is Rick Riker, and I'm in commercial photography in New York with Harry Schlack.
Earl Hamner, it's kind of tough to ask you this question with Richard Thomas sitting right there beside you, but it would be interesting to find out that as this series continues, as it inevitably will, it's a great series, the Walton children will be growing up in the show. You can't avoid that. Will they continue in their roles, or will they be replaced by younger actors?
Over my dead body.
What was the answer? I wanted Richard to hear that.
They will be replaced over my dead body.
Richard, I just thought I would relieve your mind.
We are John.
Earl Hamner, Richard Thomas, and Imposters, many thanks for being with us on To Tell the Truth. There you go.